Well, good morning, everyone. Monday motivation. I've put a little video clip of Dylan when we've come back from our run. We did about 6.5k, something like that. Worked quite hard in the woods, worked on the hills, and it was tough. Did my full circuit beforehand, so a good start to a week, good start to Monday. What about you? How's the week starting? My reflection this week is actually quite poignant and quite meaningful, I hope. That means the same thing. But it's about forgiveness. And last week I had the great privilege, just a joy, to have a pretty intimate conversation with two of my old schoolmates, Tony Riley, Ed Meakin. I mean, top lads. And our conversation got onto the subject of forgiveness. We were three of the many estranged families brought up in a Catholic Christian Brothers school in Plymouth, St Boniface College, brilliant school, and there were a whole host of brilliant mothers, Mrs Meakin, Mrs Goss, Mrs Riley, Mrs Drury, and there were many others, who are looking after and bringing up their kids on their own for one reason or other. And all of us were sort of products of those separations, whether it was the trauma of some of the things that occurred, the alcohol, the violence, etc. All of us were victims to that in some respects, and we all played out in some respects. And I know I did some crazy stuff when I was a kid and well into my adulthood, and regret some of that, but just recognise that it was actually part of who I was, created who I am now. But the subject came to forgiveness, and forgiveness of fathers, and that's quite a difficult subject. And I've managed that. I've settled that. I've moved that in my own head. But I don't know. We can all do that. It's a very difficult subject, and I reflected on it for many years. Hit me first in 1998 in the Omagh bomb, when a father stood up after the bomb had occurred, and he'd been holding his daughter's hand under the rubble when she died. And the first thing he did was stand in front of the cameras and forgive the bombers. Now for me, sitting in Armagh, commanding my battalion over there, and a good friend of mine who subsequently died, who was commanding a battalion in Omagh and dealing with this situation. And I watched it on the television and I thought, I just don't know how he could do that. I know I'd want to track those evil people down, and I want to hurt them and take revenge. But I reflected on it over a number of years, and a lot of the work I did on myself, having left the army, and conversations with people, and worked out that actually to forgive is the greatest gift you can give to yourself, let alone to the person who's harmed you. Holding on to anger, revenge, hatred, the medical evidence is very, very clear. It's very damaging to you long-term, psychologically and medically. So, it's something to give to yourself now. Okay, it's easy enough to say, it's not quite so easy to do. And I have to say, after a lot of years of working on myself, I got to the stage when on one occasion I was betrayed, and those are the words of the person concerned, by someone very, very close to me. And I found in me the ability to forgive. And in the moment, 3 words: dignity, love, and forgiveness came to me. And that was miraculous in lots of ways. I looked at myself and thought, God, you have changed. I didn't look to revenge. I didn't look to hurt the person who'd hurt me or the people who'd been involved in that. So it's a tough old subject, but it plays a little bit to the Giving the A last week, when we can think of the good things in people, and there are good things in everyone. Not everyone turns up. They don't get born to be evil. They don't get born to be bad. Things happen. People do bad things. They don't necessarily, I'd like to think that they regret that, they wish they hadn't. But if we can forgive, then maybe people can move forward, but certainly we can. And if, actually by coincidence, we watched a film at the weekend, A Beautiful Day in the Neighbourhood with Tom Hanks. If you get a chance to watch it, that actually brings this subject very much into stark reality. It's actually a true story, apparently. But it's a beautiful film. It feels a bit schmaltzy at first, but actually it's a beautiful film with some great messages, and forgiveness is absolutely at the core of it. It's been a very long message, but it's a powerful one, and I hope people get a chance to listen to it, and you have a great week, and where you can find forgiveness in people. Because to be frank, if people can forgive things like someone who's murdered their child, then God, we can forgive things far more trivial than that. Please God, you can. Take care. Have a great week. Monday Motivation. Make it yours.